Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're joining us today in today's live lecture coming to you from Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University. And today's date is Nkwo Market Day in the 4th month of the Igbo lunar calendar called Ọnwa Anọ. Anyị ka nọ n'ọnwa nke ịnọ, and tata bụ Nkwo, ụbọchị Nkwo n'Igbo lunar calendar. And in the Roman Catholic calendar, today's date is June 1st, 2025. Remember, at Nkolo Mahadum, we always advise you to use your naturally given common sense, which we call Ako Nuche in Igbo language. And we always want to remind you that Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University was set up to decolonize your mindset, to set you free from mental slavery. Because most of the information and images that the colonial masters are presenting to us up to these days are misinformation and miseducation. And therefore, we package and present our lectures from an Igbo man, from Biafran, an African perspectives. How you should be seeing things. You see things from how it affects you, and not how the Americans or the British or France or Russians or the Chinese and other cultures or countries are presenting things that you should be seeing it. You have to fight for your own. And that is why we are here, urging you to join, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and others. And like, comment, and most importantly, share this lecture to get to everybody. And in today's lecture, we are going to present one of those lectures our people do not like. And that is why we are set up. We are not set up about self or about one person. We are talking about the whole Igbo race, the whole Biafrans, the whole Africans, not one person. And therefore, the title of our lecture today is Peter Obi becoming Nigerian president, or Biafran restoration, which will be better for the Igbo race in the long run. This is a question we are asking you in today's lecture. We are asking you, if Peter Obi becoming Nigerian president or Biafran restoration, which of these two will be better for the Igbo race and the Biafrans in the long run? In the long run, we are talking about, it's about the next 100, 200, 300, 500, or 1,000 years or more. Not right now. The consequences of Peter Obi becoming the president of Nigeria versus him supporting the restoration of Biafra, which one will be better for the Igbo race in the longest period, when after all of us have died? That is the question. And before we delve into all the reasons and rationalities, we have to give you a historical background of Nigeria. Remember, in 1884 to 1885 was when the colonial masters gathered in Berlin, Germany, for a conference And in that conference, they presented the map of Africa on the table and shared the map of Africa to themselves, thereby creating the current artificial colonial boundaries we have today that we call countries. And after that creation, two brothers can wake up. One is another country, and another is another country. Practically, this happened to even the Yorubas, because some of them are in Benin Republic or somewhere else. So this was how everything started. And then the geographical area given to Nigeria, that we call Nigeria today, was given to the British Empire. And therefore, Britain was the one controlling what we call Nigeria, even up to this day. But in 1914, that is 111 years today, Britain amalgamated what they called the Northern and the Southern Protectorates by Lord Lugard. They made Nigeria one by bringing the North and the South as one entity in 1914 by Lord Lugard. And then they were ruling the country from 1914 to the point of independence, when Africans started asking for independence. And the major people that played independence role, the actors that fought for Nigeria independence, which were Nnamdi Azikiwe and Obafemi Awolowo, we are fighting for Nigeria independence. The North rejected the motion of Nigeria independence by 1956. Awolowo and Azikiwe were fighting for Nigeria to become independent in 1956. But the North said no, they are not ready for independence. And because they don't have the human capital, they don't have the expertise, they don't have the resources, the human resources to help them to manage their own country, according to Tanko Yakasi. And so that made Nigeria not to become independent in 1956. That was when they waited for the North to be ready to join, because when Zik and Awo and others, there are others, like Herbert Macaulay and others, we are fighting for Nigeria independence, for Nigeria to get independence in 1956. Did not say that they're not ready for Nigeria to have independence in 1956 because they don't have the human resources to help them to manage their own country. And so as Britain continued to negotiate with them to be part of this Nigeria independence, that was where they started to bargain to be given so many things. And they were giving so many things in return. For example, in order to give power to the North, there were several censuses conducted by the British government. One in 1952, 1953, 1962, and 1963. All of them were manipulated to give the arid North more population than the rainforest South. So in all the censuses that were conducted by Britain, they made it in such a way that the northern part of Nigeria, which is in the arid, in the dry area, where there's less people, became more populated than the rainforest South, which is the first in history that you will have such demography, where the arid side, like in Nigeria, northern side, have more population than rainforest, usually, all over the world. It is the rainforest that usually have more population than the arid, dry area. And so, not only that, the map of Nigeria, if you look at the map of Nigeria today, you can see that the map was manipulated also. They drew the map up to Igbo land, that some Igbo people are in Benue State, are in Kogi State. And so, and all of them are called North Central. And you can always hear the northern leaders say one North, which means those Igbo people which were carved into Kogi and Benue and others in the north are now part of the north. So they use the map also to make sure that each time you conduct an election through population, that the north will win it. So they lay all this foundation from the census to drawing of the map to make sure that whenever an election is done, that the North will win that election. And then during the actual election in 1959, the election that will now be used to hand over power, that election was in 1959 and was also rigged by the Britain in favor of Northern People's Congress, NPC, and their candidate, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, won the election, but without, he needed an alliance for him to be the prime minister. And what did they do? They consulted Azikiwe, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and forced him to form an alliance, a coalition with Northern People Congress, so that Tafawa Balewa can now become the prime minister. And they forced Azikiwe because Azikiwe has some problem with banking. He conducted some, illegal things in the bank, and the British wanted to jail him because of that. And they told him, if you don't do that, we're going to come after you and jail you. And as a result, Britain was able to, Nnamdi Azikiwe have to obey what they are telling him, because if he failed to form a coalition to form that government, he may be imprisoned, jailed and imprisoned. So that was how that government was formed in 1959, that then we are the people, the government that they handed over power in 1960 as the government of Nigeria. So after that government took over, you have heard about the January 1966 coup, which was the coup that Nigerians conducted to save the country from corruption, from religious extremities, maladministration, and others, which they termed Igbo coup. And as that was going on, between May and September, you have the Igbo pogrom, where they killed many Igbos across the north. And as that was going on, there was another coup, the retaliatory coup, that happened in July 1966. And from that coup led to the Nigerian Biafran Civil War, 1967 to 1970. So these are just some historical background we want to present to you, to inform Peter Obi. If he doesn't know, he should go and read all these things and understand the historical background of Nigeria, of how Nigeria was formed. And that now takes us to the democratic process of Nigeria that started in 1999. Remember, it was Olusegun Obasanjo who came out from prison that started this 1999 civilian rule, the civilian rule of Nigeria that started in 1999, which is the one that they are practicing today. In this new democratic arrangement, we are meant to understand that the North rules for 8 years and the South will rule for another 8 years. That is what has been going on. That power shifts to the North for 8 years and comes to the South for another 8 years, which means every region, like Northern region or Southern region, have to rule for 8 years. That is what is going on right now, because when Yar'Adua died, when President Jonathan wanted to succeed Yar'Adua, the North said no, they haven't finished their term. And so now Buhari came in, stayed for 8 years before the 2023 election that gave birth to Tinubu. And here we are with Tinubu trying to complete his 4 years, which will end in 2027. And you can see that in this new democratic dispensation, that there's no ideology. The Nigerian politicians have no ideology. That's why even Peter Obi, who was in APGA, have to decamp to PDP. And from PDP now, he's now the presidential candidate of Labour Party, right? And you can see a lot of decamping. Every day, a PDP goes to become APC. The next morning, the same person moves from APC to PDP. So they don't have no ideology. So it's just myself, my pocket, my interest. That's all they are going for. They're not going there for you. And so that is the democratic process that we have in Nigeria right now. No ideology. People jump from party to party without no consequences. You see what's going on in River State? The mess in River State as a result of that. And so, and Peter Obi has done so much right now from being the candidate of Labour Party in the last election, which in our opinion, I think Colum had that he won that election. He couldn't fight for that to take what he has earned. He couldn't fight for it. And now he is doing everything possible to run against Tinubu, to replace Tinubu. And because of that, he has made a lot of donations. Even he has donated up to 1.5 billion naira to what he call humanitarian causes across Nigeria. Sometimes in Kaduna, sometimes in Borno, sometimes in Kano. You see him everywhere, both in the Anambra State, everywhere donating money, going, saying things, defending Nigeria, doing everything he can to make the people to like him so that he can become the president of Nigeria. He has traveled both north and south. He has even ate with Almajiris in the north. He has stooped to most of the emirs and chiefs. He's trying to be a very good person, distancing himself from the Biafran restoration project. He doesn't want to mention anything Biafra. He wants to be the best one Nigerian is. He wants to be the one to save Nigeria. That's what he's been doing. And before we continue, we have to beg you again to please join us, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and like, comment, share. Share it to everybody, because this lecture we are giving you, you won't hear it from anywhere. You won't hear from corrupt media. No, you will not. You can only get it from Nkolomahadum Wisdom University. What is baffling to us now is that Peter Obi is trying to form a coalition to defeat President Tinubu. And our fear rests with the type of people he's forming that coalition with. People like Nasir El-Rufai and Chibuike Amaechi. Remember, Nasir El-Rufai, during President Jonathan's presidency, he was the one that brought he was one of the people, one of the staunch people that brought APC in, that was criticizing President Jonathan, that was saying that he has the magic to deliver Nigeria, that he has everything it takes to deliver Nigeria. He was also part of the Buhari government for 8 years and blessed with being the governor of Kaduna State. El-Rufai Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna. He became the governor for 8 years. What did he achieve in Kaduna? Even the current governor was accusing him of corruption. And so people like him fears us at Nkolomahadum Wisdom University. Also, another people that Peter Obi is forming this coalition with that baffles us is Chibuike Amaechi. Chibuike Amaechi is an Igbo man who was the transport minister during Buhari administration. He was building railroad all to Nigerian Republic, another country, without any railroad in Biafran land. In his homeland, there's no railroad. But he is building railroad to Nigerian Republic. So if Peter Obi can go to this extent, associating with people like that, just for him to be the president, that doesn't speak well for the Igbo race. So he should be looking before he leap. Because we don't see him as someone that was desperate before, but what he's doing right now is like he is in desperation to be the president of Nigeria. And that's not good for the Igbo race. Now, we want you to listen carefully. Right now, according to Wikipedia, Peter Obi was born July 19, 1961. So assuming Peter Obi becomes president in 2027, he will be 66 years, assuming if he wins Tinubu, because Nandaba na-asị ị natara dike mma mgbe ọ nọ n'ana, mgbe ọ kwụzịala ọtọ ka ya na tia mma. Before Tinubu became the president, Peter Obi won that election. And the youths were waiting for him to rise up and do the right thing and take over that mantle as president. He failed to do so, and Tinubu took over. No, now that Tinubu is in power, when Peter Obi had the opportunity to be the president when he won the election in 2023, he failed to rise up to the occasion. And Tinubu took over the government, appointing his people in all the strategic positions. And you think you can now be able to win Tinubu come 2027? We shall live to see. But what we are saying is, even if he wins Tinubu in 2027 and become the president, he will rule up to 2031, because Tinubu has done 4 years, then he will do 4 years, ending 2031, and then step down. And if he didn't win Tinubu, and Tinubu continue and finish his 8 years, Peter Obi will be 70, and the power will go back to the North. And the North will rule for 8 years. So for Peter Obi to become the president again, It has to be from 2039. By then, Peter Obi will be almost 79 years. But assuming that he wants Tinubu and govern the country for 4 years and step down, and then waited until the North finishes their 8 years, which will end in 2039, and he becomes another president again for another 8 years from the South. What will he achieve for the Igbo people and for the Biafran people? Will he stop the Fulani herdsmen, terrorists, killings across Nigeria, particularly deep into our land in Ebonyi State, Enugu State, Anambra State, Imo State, River State, Bayelsa, and so many other areas across the country? Can he stop it? Our answer at Nkolomad is no. Peter Obi don't have what it takes to stop this marauding Fulani herdsmen, kidnapping, organ harvesting, killing our people, taking a lot of ransom, stealing in our land. He doesn't have the lever. Will Peter Obi stop the Islamization agenda? The answer is no. Peter Obi cannot stop the Islamization agenda. Remember, history was made on the night of this 2025, on May 9th, 2025, when the first inaugural, when they say inaugural, flight for Muslim pilgrim Hajj took off from Sam Mbakwe Cargo Airport in Owerri, Imo State. For the first time in our lifetime, Hajj operation, Hajj flight, inaugural. When they say inaugural, it means it will be continuous. This is just the beginning. So next year, there'll be another flight. Lifting Muslims for Hajj, for pilgrimage from Owerri, from Imo State, from our land, for the first time. When we are saying these things, some of our people, it will end up in one ear and go out in the other ear. Go to history and you will know that even Turkey you have today was once a Christian nation. Remember, Turkey is a Christian nation. They have their own boundary. They were once a Christian nation. Today, Turkey is a Muslim nation. Even Lebanon of yesterday was a Christian nation with a boundary. Remember, Biafran nation doesn't have a boundary right now. The boundary is only where women tie two wrappers, according to our leader, Martin Nnamdi Kanu. But Lebanon has a defined boundary, but was a Christian state, a Christian country. But now it's no longer a Christian country. It's now a Muslim country. So Peter Obi cannot stop the Islamization agenda going on. Will Peter Obi's presidency open the door for the Igbo people to start to occupy sensitive positions in Nigeria? The answer is no. The war ended 1970 up to today. It's about 57 years old. I've been to 2027. Assuming Peter Obi becomes president in 2027, it's going to be 57 years after the war was the first time an Igbo person, assuming he wins, we are saying assuming he wins, it will be 57 years after the war that an Igbo man became the president of Nigeria. So after Peter Obi's presidency, assuming he wins, how long will it take another Igbo person to become president? Maybe 100 years, maybe 200 years. We don't know. And so, shall Peter Obi's presidency make us to be the one controlling our resources, our oil and gas, and other resources? The answer is no. Because even if you become president, you can still see Fulani is being the one controlling NNPC. You may not even have the headquarters of NNPC in Biafra land. The headquarters of NNPC is currently in Lagos and Abuja. Will Peter Obi presidency stop the migration of our people? The answer is no. Because he will do like Jonathan, trying to satisfy the North, everything about the North. He can't even try to build those necessary infrastructures in our land to make sure that people do not migrate anymore. You know that the more we are migrating outside, the more we are losing our brain. It's a brain drain. Brain drain. Our people, the best brains are going outside. So Peter Obi's presidency may not stop our people migrating to other countries. Will he remove all the checkpoints in our land? Peter Obi's presidency may not remove the checkpoints in our land, which you know are centers of extortion, intimidation, harassment of our people. Will he stop Igbo profiling? Peter Obi's presidency will not stop profiling of the Igbos. So these are some of the few points we want to highlight to you, to let you know, for you to advise Peter Obi to retract his step and support the Biafran restoration project. Because if Biafra is restored, it will encompass people of the same value system, and that will propel the fastest development we have seen in Black Africa and in the world. Remember that when we were performing regional government in Nigeria, the eastern region of Nigeria was the fastest developing economy in the whole of the world. And so when Biafra is restored with the same value system, that we propel, that we have the highest, the fastest development of any nation in the world. And we shall have security. The Fulani herdsmen, terrorists will be eradicated in our land. This international airport that they are doing guy for us with, international airport will be in every state, because we shall recreate the states in Biafra land. Assuming we still have what they have now, we shall have international airports in Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi, Rivers, Imo State, Cross River, Bayelsa, and so many other places we have international airports. Anytime you want to travel out, you just go there. From Anambra, you fly to Dubai, or you fly to London or Australia. And when you're coming back, you come back to Anambra State, not going to Lagos. And we shall have seaports all over the place. We have big waters in Ebonyi. We have in Anambra. We have in Imo State. We have in Abia. We have in River State. There will be seaports all over Biafra land. We can't be begging for that, so that we can be exporting. This seaports is not for import, as we are doing right now. It's going to be for exporting of all the goods we shall be manufacturing in Biafra land. Also, we shall be in control of our natural resources, our oil and gas. The people managing our oil and gas will be Biafran people, not people from outside Biafran territory. Also, our border will be very, very well controlled, so that before you come into the country, we have to know whom you are. We have to know what you are coming to do. Our border will be tight. It's not like now they're operating like open border, like in our border with Niger and Benin Republic. It's open. People come in and go at any time. It shouldn't be like that in Biafra. The next important thing that will happen is many industries. There will be many, many industries in Biafra land. Our people will be working. There will be no unemployment in Biafra land. There will be no unemployment. In fact, foreigners will be lining up in our embassies across the world. But in Americans will be begging to come. British people will be begging to come. French people will be begging to come to Biafra land. Australian people will be begging. Russian, the Muslim world, Saudi Arabia, all of them will be begging to come to Biafra land. There will be no employment. They'll be coming there to work and make money, just like many of us are migrating to foreign countries to work and make money. The same way, they will be coming to our land. No Biafran will stay without no employment. And even if the Biafran stays without employment, he'll be giving food, he'll be giving house, he'll be giving money to take care of himself. He cannot suffer, just like Muammar Gaddafi did in Libya. Most importantly, we shall have identity. When people around the world see what is going on, know what is going on in Biafra land, how we are managing our resources, how we are building our country, how we are producing things, they will give us respect. Right now, no African have respect. They see you as a waste pipe. It will give us identity. And that will help us to start to look for our brothers. We shall start to look for our brothers in Haiti. Don't you know that about 90% of the Haitian people are Igbo people? There are also Igbo people in Guinea, in Jamaica, in Ivory Coast, in Benin Republic, and so many other places across the world. We shall start to look for our people, our people. Now we are not looking for them because we don't have no country. These are the things that P2B have to know. In addition, we shall have constant electricity, water, good roads, schools, hospitals, good social security network, like I've said before. If any Biafran is handicapped, he shouldn't worry. The Biafran state will build a house for him, marry for him, pay for his students' school fees, do everything that is supposed to, giving him a lot, because the nation will be a very, very rich nation. And finally, like I said earlier, foreigners will be lining up to come to work in Biafra land. So these are the things that P2B should know, that his incessant test to become the president of Nigeria will not be helpful to the Igbo race. In the long run, it's better he come home to Agolo, come home to Anambra, come home to Africa and fight, just like the Sahel states led by Traore of Burkina Faso and their team are fighting to decolonize Africa, to make Africans control their resources and manage themselves. And P2B will better being the president of Biafra, because all this grammar he's speaking on how to solve this problem, how to do that in Nigeria, nobody's listening to him. So when he speaks that kind of grammar in Biafra land, we will understand him. I say, okay, go ahead and be the president of Biafra, and let's see what you can do. So, because this lecture is kind of long, I'm going to be bringing it to an end. But before I do, we want to advise you again to please subscribe, join us, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Because if you do, anytime we do a new lecture, you'll be the first to get it. And the type of lectures we are packaging and presenting is from the Igbo man, from the Biafran, from African perspectives. We don't follow things the way Europeans or Asians or Muslims see them. We see them from typical African man position. And that's how we shall be explaining them to you. So it's very, very important. This is new. This is new approach. And this is an university. We are not here to play or to crack joke. No. We are teaching you things that are serious. So what we are saying is that Peter Obi becoming the president of Nigeria or supporting the Biafran restoration, which one will be better for the Igbo race? And we have told you the historical background, how the Europeans divided Africa to themselves from 1884 to 1885 in Berlin, Germany. And that's where Britain got the area called Nigeria. And then we also told you when Britain got it, they continued to rule, and then they amalgamated, put the North and South together to become one country. And then when Zik and Awolowo was fighting for independence, did not say that they are not ready in 1956. Nigeria would have been independent in 1956, but did not say they are not ready. And then Britain had to give them some concessions, make census, favor them, draw the map to favor them, the North. Then the election of 1959 to favor them. Tafawa Balewa became the president, and Zik was forced, because Zik has some financial problems, which they know. He was forced to form a coalition. And then after they assumed office in 1960, there was this January coup that tried to solve the problem of Nigeria: corruption, religion, maladministration. Then it was misunderstood. And then there was an Igbo program from May, was September 1966. And July 1966, there was a counter coup led by Murtala Mohammed also. And all those culminated, led to the Nigerian Biafran War, 1967 to 1970. And then Biafrans were forced back to become Nigerians. And then in 1999, the new democracy, the one they are pressing right now, it started with Obasanjo being the president. And what they are practicing, there's no ideology. Every politician jumps from Peter to Paul, from north to south. They jump from PDP to APC, tomorrow from APC to PDP without any consequences. And, and that's why Peter Obi himself left APGA to PDP and then to Labour Party right now. And now he's trying to form a coalition. And he won the election in 1923 election. He won it. He couldn't defend it. And now he wants to defeat Tinubu. That's why we said in Igbo land, so it's very, very, very precarious. And Peter Obi has done so many things, donating money here and there, about 1.5 billion donated across Nigeria for humanitarian causes, he calls it. He has ate with even Amajeris, going everywhere, preaching this and that in both North and Southern Nigeria. He doesn't support Biafran restoration. And now he's forming a coalition with Erufai and Chibika Amechi and others, which we at Nkomolok Mahadum is not comfortable with. And Peter Obi, according to Wikipedia, was born July 1961. So he is 66. He's going to be 66 years old in 2027. 2027, he'll be 66 years old. So even if he wins Tinubu and rule from 2027 to 2031, he'll be 70 years old. If he didn't win Tinubu and Tinubu wins, another election will be conducted after 2031, and power will go to the north. So power will come down from the north after 2039, which after 8 years. If you add that 8 years to Peter Obi's age, then Peter Obi will be almost 78 years old when power will return back to the south. But we are saying here, assuming he wins the election, what will he do to benefit the Igbo man? To make sure the Igbo man doesn't lose in future, in the long run, in 100 years, 300 years, 500 or 1,000 years coming. what is he going to do? Is he going to stop the Fulani herdsmen killing across the Nigeria, kidnapping and organ harvesting? Can he do that? The answer is no. Can he stop the Islamization going on? Test flights carrying Muslims from Imo State, Iwore, just started this year, and it will continue from next year going. Can he stop it? He cannot. Will his being president open the door for Igbo to start to occupy their rightful place in Nigeria? The answer is no. Will he, being a president, stop all the roadblocks in our land, all the checkpoints? The answer is no. Will he stop the migration of Igbo people outside Igbo land? The answer is no. So, will he make the Igbo people, the Biafran people, to control their resources by themselves and manage it by themselves? The answer is no. So, if he cannot do all this, why can't he support the Biafran restoration? Biafran restoration is what we help Ndi Igbo to be in charge of ourselves for centuries of years to come. By then, we are all dead and gone. And we are telling people that the Biafran restoration is better for the Igbo race because it will be made up of people with the same value system, and people with the same value system will produce or provide or propel the highest, fastest development in human history. That we will stop the Fulani herdsmen and eradicate them from our land, those in the bushes, and also international airports will be everywhere around our land. We can travel from our land to anywhere we want and come back to our land, not going to Lagos. Seaport will be everywhere in our land where we can export it. The seaport is for export and few imports into our land because we shall be a producing nation. We shall control our oil and gas and other resources we have and manage them effectively well, and also build factories to turn those raw materials into finished products, just like Burkina Faso is currently doing. Because we will establish a lot of industries and we shall control our borders. We can't have a porous border so that Fulani herdsmen cannot come in, and we know who is coming in and who is going out. There will be no unemployment in our land because Biafra will be a very rich nation, just like former Libya, where Muammar Gaddafi was there. Even if our people are not employed, are unemployed, we shall provide them everything they need in life. Another benefit is that we shall look for our brothers in Haiti. About 90% of people in Haiti are Igbo people. And also our people in Guinea, in Jamaica, in Ivory Coast, in Benin Republic, and other places around the world. In our land, there will be constant electricity, there will be constant water, good roads, good schools, good hospitals, and everything you need to make life very, very good for our people. And lastly, foreigners will be lining up to come to our land because it will be a land full of milk and honey, and they'll be rushing in to participate, to get, to live a better life in Biafra land than what we are currently having in Nigeria. And our people will be the one controlling, managing everything that we have, not foreigners or people that we don't know. So all this we want people to know so that he can come back home to Agolo, to Anambra State, to Africa, to Biafra land, and be the president of Biafra. You are better off being the president of Biafra than what you are currently doing. And with this, we shall bring today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm sorry that this lecture is kind of long, but it is necessary so that I can catch up with all the informations that I wanted to deliver to you today. Thank you very much and have a very, very good day. Thank you for joining me and have a nice one. Bye-bye.